Hello everyone, PhoenixKnight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We've been doing Wednesday night baseball for the last 5 weeks, so now we're going to take a little bit of a break from that, and we're going to do something very different on the channel. We're actually going to build a dungeon tonight, as we're playing Super Boss Monster by 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐻𝐬. In the solo mode for this game, it's basically a beat-your-own-score mode, and you're trying to make a standard title. Trying to defeat as many souls as we can via the heroes in the game. So we'll be doing that building dungeons. But we've got a few decisions that we need to make before we can jump into this one. First decision we need to make is we need to decide what boss we're playing as tonight, and it would help if I flip on the over the camera light. So the first boss we have to choose from, and each one will have a special ability when you level up, is the Shadow Fool. Dark Reflection. When you level up, give each room in your dungeon with at least one +1 counter, another +1 counter, and the type of treasure down here is going to be sensitive to what types of heroes we need to lure. This one wants predominantly thief bosses, or the thief characters, I think it is, with the, thief treasure. The other boss, we've got a Cerebellus combat body. When we level up, we can send our minion here, draw and discard a card, and gain a wizard treasure until the end of turn. Given that I like wizards, we're going to play the Cerebellus tonight. There are several different bosses in 16-bit style, as this is Super Boss Monster, like Super Nintendo days, back in ye olden ancient times. Then we've got our starting hand, which if we draw 4 advanced rooms or 4 of one treasure type, we can shuffle the entire hand back into the deck and draw. Actually, do we reveal? Nope. Okay, so heroes come up later. So our first card up is a Cursed Statue, which is an advanced trap room. We can send our minion here to draw a spell card, but we can't build this right away because it isn't advanced. We have to be able to set it over top of something. Next room up is a traveling library. This is a trap room. I can discard, if I send my minion here, I can discard a room card to draw a spell card. So that's a possibility. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to leave my hand down here, and then whatever's in the dungeon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rooms max, so that should actually work. Next room up is a subspace path with a trap room. You may destroy this room to draw a spell card. Does 1 damage, and it's got both thief and wizard rewards on it. I should mention that the other 2 rooms do 2 damage and have wizard treasures. Next up, Firebomb Storage, which is a trap room. You may destroy this room to place 2 +1 damage counters in your dungeon. And our last possible room is the Monster Truck room, which is an advanced room. We can have our minion visit to build a monster room in our dungeon. Does 3 damage, and it's got a warrior treasure on it. Then for our spells, first up, we've got the back rooms that can be used during I believe that's the adventure phase. The cards tell you what phase they can be used during. Yes. Choose a room in your dungeon. Until end of turn, it deals +2 damage for each room stacked underneath it. And our other spell is Super. Deal 3 damage to a hero in your dungeon, also during the adventure phase. Or if you're level up, deal 5 damage instead. Okay, I'm going to take a quick drink of my Crystal Light, and then we do get to choose a room to build. Alright. So the first room I think I want here is actually the traveling library. We're going to build that room right away. Like I said, I can send my minion here to discard a room card to draw a spell. The only thing I'm not completely liking about it is that I've got 3 wizard treasures on it. So that's one thing I've kind of not really been completely warmed to about this game is it does have a lot of luck to it, in that you've got to hope that the heroes that come out have the treasures, are lured by the treasures that you have in your dungeon. So there is that one little bit of hesitation I have with this game, because the boss does count as well. I don't think there's anything else to do, so we are all set. So in the solo mode, we start with the town phase. So we're going to reveal our first heroes. Our first hero up, we've got a mage. 6 health, Michael, Wizard's Apprentice. When Michael's teacher left on a trip, he told Michael not to get into any trouble. Michael blames the broom for his current predicament. Ha ha. So that's our third hero. So that's going to be going into number... Technically, it would start in number 1, but it's going to get moved over, so I'm just going to save myself some time, put it at number 3. Next up, we've got a cleric which needs cleric treasures. Paul Reitman, hero at law. Have you been unfairly harmed by a boss monster? Have you been unjustly accused of being a werewolf? Call now. Unfortunately, the problem there is we've got no cleric treasures in hand. We'll have to see what comes up out of the deck. And finally, we've got a thief. Janie Smith, novice time traveler, needs a thief treasure. Almost looks like Quistis from Final Fantasy VIII. Janie Smith, novice time traveler. After finding a magical tree fort, Janie has gone on adventures throughout time and space, but she's always home for dinner. 4 health for her. Okay, and we do have one room that I could use. Actually, we have a couple rooms that I could use as thief treasures. But first thing we need to do here is the next thing we need to do is reveal the cards for the market, which I believe is 2 rooms and a spell. I'm just going to double check that. Okay, so we were technically supposed to restock the market first, but... Yep, 1 spell and 2 rooms. Alright, so the spell that we've got coming out is Archaeology. This can be used during the build phase. Choose 1 room in your dungeon. Until the end of the turn, it also has the treasure symbols of every room stacked beneath it. Then for our 2 rooms, we've got the Fangroot Jungle, which is an advanced monster room. Once per turn, if a hero with +2 health dies in this room, give 2 different monster rooms in your dungeon a +1 counter. 3 damage and a warrior treasure. We don't need warrior treasures right now. And our second room that's available is a psychic stall with a monster room. When you build or uncover this room, take a random spell from the discard pile. It's got 2 cleric treasures in it. So, which we're going to need cleric treasures to lure the cleric to the dungeon. The problem is we can't kill the cleric. So I'm not exactly warm to doing that. We can lure the thief here. We can lure the thief to our dungeon, though. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up... I think I am going to take the psychic stall here. So now I've got to figure out where I want to send my minion. I can send him to the temple to give him either an extra cleric treasure, or take one of the remaining cards left in the market. The stadium gives us another warrior treasure, or draw a room card from the top of the room deck. The library gives us another wizard treasure, and draw it from the spell, then discard. Then a thief treasure at the hideout, or the last room has +2 health. So where do I want to send the minion? The question is, if I go to the library to get an extra wizard treasure to lure the mage here, am I going to be able to kill the mage this turn? And the answer to that is no, I won't be able to. Actually, yes, I could. Because I do have super that I do have a super that I can use during the adventure phase. So let's see. Unfortunately, the one thing I don't like about this starting configuration of heroes is I've got 2 6s right away, so I'm only going to be able to use my super to kill one of them. Unless I don't lure the cleric to my dungeon this turn, and I plan instead on being able, actually, yes, I can play a room that will lure the thief, and I'll be able to kill the mage on this turn. I'm not going to plan on luring the cleric to my dungeon though. So yeah, I'm gonna discard these 2 cards because I don't think I'm going to the temple. The stadium is draw another room, as we established. Draw, then discard a spell. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is I've got 2 wizard treasures existing in my dungeon. So I'm going to send my minion. Actually, I think we build, then deploy, then send the minion, right? Okay, draft one of the rooms, and then we build. Okay, so I am going to send the minion to the library, getting an extra wizard treasure in my dungeon this turn. Then in the build phase, I'm going to go ahead and build the firebomb storage. I can destroy this room to place +2/+1 counters in my dungeon. Okay, so now we get the effect of the minion, which gives me the aforementioned 3rd wizard treasure. Okay. And now we go into the bait phase. So now this is where we compare the treasures to what each hero needs to be lured. So first we'll look at we'll work from right to left, because that's going to be different. Because that's going to change the number of treasures that we need to lure each hero. The mage is in the 3 space on the solo mode, which would require 3 wizard treasures to lure the mage to our dungeon. In this case, because of the location that we sent our minion up here to the library, which gives an option of a wizard treasure, we do have 3 wizard treasures in the dungeon for this turn, so that means we lure the mage to our dungeon. The cleric needs cleric treasures, and in the 2 slot, he's got 2 to draw from. He needs 2. We don't have any cleric treasures in our dungeon, so the cleric isn't baited to our dungeon. The thief, however, needs a wizard treasure, and because we placed the firebomb storage there, we do have the thief treasure that we need to lure the thief to our dungeon. So okay, so now in the adventure phase, we send each hero through. I'm going to start with the mage, since the mage came to the dungeon first. The mage will venture into the firebomb storage and take 2 damage. And I wish I had actually, I think I can. Actually, I can just use a die for this. So the mage has 2 damage on him right now. And then he goes to the traveling library, which does him another 2 damage. And here's where I'm going to use the super that I can deal 3 damage to a hero in my dungeon. I'll hit the mage with that, and the mage has been defeated, so I claim him as a soul. And the solo game doesn't end when I get to 10. Normally the game ends when one hero reaches 10 souls in the dungeon, or if there are no heroes left. In this case, the solo game ends in one of 3 ways. We either get 5 wounds, a hero moves to the tavern, or the epic hero is empty. Okay, so we have defeated the Mage, as I mentioned. Then we've got the Thief coming in. We'll go to the Firebomb storage. The Thief will suffer 2 damage. And then the Thief will go to the Traveling Library and suffer another 2 damage and be defeated as well. Then in end of game, obviously the game isn't over yet, so we are going to draw for the turn. There are 2 heroes in town. Move the leftmost hero. Wait a minute. Use the 4 town slots on a 4-player game. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. If a hero will be forced out of town, place them in the first... Oh, okay, so we place from... So the question is, do we place from right to... I've been placing from left to right. Reveal 3 heroes from the deck. I think you place heroes in the dungeon from left to right. Place them on the rightmost available space. Okay. So actually, with that in mind, so place them on the rightmost available space. So the cleric... So actually, the cleric would have been here. And I don't think we would have been able to lure anybody yet. So yeah, we're not going to worry about that now, but I will remember for the future. So now we're into the next round. Our first hero is the fighter. Mintleaf Lumberjack needs fighter treasures to be lured. Mintleaf usually enjoys her quiet life in the woods making art, but every now and then she gets the itch to slay some vermin. 6 health there, so we'll reveal another hero here. Our next hero is another mage. This one's got 4 health. Wisebeard, Wandering Wizard. Despite how garishly he's dressed, it's always easy to lose Whitebeard in a crowd. And finally, we've got another thief. Colibri, Mischievous Bones with 6 health. Once a dungeon denizen, Colibri just showed up in town one day, and no one cared enough to kick him out. Harsh. Alright, so now we're drawing 2 cards and a spell. Let's grab our rooms first. We've got an Emporium. You may destroy this room to make every other player discard a spell card, which is another cleric treasure. Then, we've got the Puzzle Door. It's a trap room. When you build this room, place a +1 counter on it. You may remove 2 +1 counters from your dungeon to cancel a played spell. 1 damage and another wizard treasure. And our spell is Cobbled Rush. Double the damage of 1 room in your dungeon until end of turn. At the end of this turn, destroy that room. Alright, so we no longer have the wizard treasure available. So now what room do I want to build? Well, actually now it's where do I send the minion first? So I've actually got enough. Right now to lure both the thief and the mage as is to the dungeon. So... Okay, so the question here is, do we go to the temple to lure the cleric and then gamble on getting the super back again? Because the problem is, I'm going to have, well, the thing is, I'm going to have 3 heroes coming in. If I go with this plan, I'm going to have 3 heroes coming in. If I go with the plan to get the cleric, I'm going to have 3 heroes coming in, and I'm only going to be able to kill 1 of them with the super. I'm not completely sure I'm crazy about that plan. Let's see, the last room doing +2 damage could be a thing I use. The thing is, I would need that for... Take a random spell from the discard pile. Let's go with... Okay, so I have to draft first and then deploy my minion. So what room do I want first? I think I want the... What I really need now is warrior treasures. But I think for now, I'm going to take the... I'm going to take the 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐬𝐿. So now where do I want to send my minion? That brings me back to that question. Excuse me. Let's go to... Well, unfortunately, if I go to the temple now, that's not going to lure the cleric here. Like I said, I will be luring the thief and the mage both to my dungeon. So do I want to just... I think I'm probably just going to play a 2-room space to make sure I kill him. To make sure I kill the thief. With that in mind, though, I am going to... Let's draw and discard a spell for the library. Yeah, we'll go to the library, and I will build the 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐬𝐿. I think that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to move that over there so I've got room for the heroes to come in. So now we get the effect from the library, which is drawing a spell card, and then we'll have to discard... I believe that's draw and discard a spell. Yep. So our spell card that we're drawing is Bad Advice. Choose a hero in your dungeon. Ignore all plus health counters on that hero until end of turn. Actually, yeah. And I will discard... I'll discard the Bad Advice. Then... So I got the benefit of that. Now we go through luring. 4 warrior treasures, not coming. 3 cleric treasures, not coming. 2 mage treasures, baited. 1 thief treasure, also baited. We'll send the mage through first. Stops here for 2 damage. Gets stopped here and is defeated. So that's another soul for me. Then for the thief... Stops here, stops in the Emporium, plus 2 damage, 4 damage, 6 damage. So the thief has been defeated. Also, everything else moves to the discard pile. Then the minion comes back, and we're revealing 3 new heroes. First hero coming out is the fighter, Scoff Beast Trainer. Going against the traditions of her community, Scoff chose to befriend the beasts terrorizing her town. Then our next hero is the cleric, Friday the 6th Odd Child. Friday makes sure to keep her feet solidly on the ground. She may be a powerful psychic, but she still gets seasick. And now the town is full, so now... Place them on the rightmost available space. They'll push all heroes to the left, pushing the leftmost hero... Oh, no, wait, I think I was doing it right all along. And now I'm doing it backwards again. Now I'm doing it backwards. Push all the heroes to the left, pushing the leftmost hero down to a landmark. Okay, so yeah, I think I am doing this backwards. And then that'll push the fighter down to the temple. Well, the 3rd hero. So, our new hero is another fighter. Rabbit transformed warrior. After being turned into a rabbit by the witch's curse, this brave knight decided to just hop with it. So the fighter, Mint Leaf now goes to the temple, and we have to go here to lure her. Then the cleric, which is actually, that works for me because the cleric's now, because the 6 health cleric is now going to get lured to our dungeon. Unfortunately, that does cover up another cleric treasure that we could use. Let's see what we've got here, though, for rooms and spells. We've got Bookworm, which is an advanced monster room. When you build this room, give it a +1 counter for each spell card in your hand, then discard half your spells rounded down. Then we've got the Minion Arena, which is a trap room. When we visit this room, have our minion come here, give this room +5 damage. And our spell is a strength buff. Choose up to 2 different monster rooms in your dungeon and give each a +1 monster and give each one a +1 damage counter. Ooh. That could be very useful. Actually, there's a couple of spells that could be very useful in here. Especially if I build another monster room this turn, and I could probably set myself up to. The only thing I don't like about that plan is losing my only cleric treasure. So I think I'm going to draft 2 different monster rooms. Yeah, I think this will work. So I'll take the strength buff. These 2 rooms are going away because the temple where I could get those cards back is now taken. And then I will build the psychic stall. When I build or uncover this room, I take a random spell card from the discard pile. So I've got 4 spells here. All right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are rerolls. Didn't think I'd need the dice tower tonight. That's card 4, so I get this spell back. The spell I get back is Bad Advice. Oh, that's the light. Well, actually, oh, I never sent the, well, I never sent the minion, so I'm going to send the minion, I think, here. We're going to pretend we're going to send the minion there to lure the fighter, and then I'm going to re-roll the psychic stall, since I technically should have done that out of order. But I think I was going to send my minion there anyway. So let's re-roll. Same parameters on the roll. Alright, there's 2, so this is the room we get back. We get back the super. Okay, that actually works even better. Okay, so this is actually during either the build or the adventure phase. So now I'm going to use the strength buff to choose 2 different monster rooms in my dungeon and give each of them a +1 damage counter. This is easy because I've only got 2 monster rooms in here anyway, the Emporium and the Psychic Stall. Question is, do I want to blow up the Firebomb storage as well to put 2 more +1 damage counters in my dungeon? Actually, no, I can't. No, I don't want to do that because that's my only... Do I care that it's my only thief treasure right now? I think the answer to that... Well, right now I don't have any thieves out, so... That's probably fine. So, that means this one does 3, 4... Yeah, it's probably fine. So I am going to destroy the Firebomb storage, bring these 2 rooms over, and then we'll give those 2 another +1 damage counter each. Okay, now that we've built, actually we haven't actually built our room yet, so I'm going to build the subspace path. I may destroy this room to draw a spell card. Actually, I probably should have done that in a different order. Okay, so now we get the minion benefit, which now is going to lure the fighter into my dungeon. But the fighter's got +2 health. Which is probably still fine, because I can just use the super. I can just use the super to blow her up. Then moving from left to right, the cleric, we've got 3 cleric treasures, so Paul Reitman gets lured. The fighter needs 2 fighter treasures. I have no fighter treasures. He doesn't get lured. Friday the 6th needs 3 cleric treasures. I've got 3 cleric treasures now, so she gets lured. And then Rabbit needs 4 fighter treasures. Rabbit doesn't get lured. So let's go to Mintleaf first. Takes 1 damage from the subspace path. I'm going to need a bigger die for this. I'm going to grab a D8. So there's 1 damage. Actually, this might just be lethal. 1 + 2 is another 3 damage. And then we'll land in the Emporium to take another 4 damage, and the fighter actually is defeated. As for Paul Reitman, 1 damage, 4, and takes another 4. So Paul gets defeated as well, and Friday won't even get that far. She'll get to the Psychic Stall and be defeated. Okay. So that's it. The temple is going to be occupied again momentarily. Obviously, game isn't over yet. We do still have our super available, though. Let's see what new heroes we have coming out. And I think we established that now these go in the rightmost available space. So coming up first is a cleric, Otot Terrier Cleric. Otot doesn't think he's in his rural hometown anymore, but he's still willing to bless the storm clouds wherever he goes. 6 health, and he will get lured to our dungeon, so I don't have to place any special effort to lure him. Then coming out, we've got the Mage. We've got another Mage, which needs wizard treasures. Javiera, PhD. If you can match Javiera's academic accomplishments, or her psychic powers for that matter, 6 health, she's getting lured. And then moving down, and then actually Javiera is going to be moving to the temple. So now coming out is a thief, Sarah Runaway Bride. Fleeing an arranged marriage, Sarah delves into every dungeon trying to find her one missing true love. If only he wasn't a boss monster. So everything else is going to move to the right. And now we're drawing cards to draft. First card coming out of the room deck is a Floorwalker Tunnel. Once per turn, you may move this room and any hero in it to the front of your dungeon. If we take that... Actually, we might have some options here. Next room up is the Shrewman Farm, 2 warrior treasures. Whenever you build a room adjacent to this one, put a +1 counter on this card. It's 2 warrior treasures. And for our spell, the Backrooms again, which we have another copy of already. Alright, well, I think here... let me think what I want to do here. I can stack normal rooms. I'm going to double check, but I think I can stack normal rooms on top of... Ordinary rooms can be built on top of any rooms. Okay, so I think with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and build and grab the... If I'm going to build this monster truck room at some point, I am going to need a warrior treasure for it. The problem is I don't want to lose the Shroomman farm if I can avoid it. So I think I am going to take the... Shroomman farm. And these are going to go away because I'm not going to discard... Because I'm not going to be able to go to the temple and get those because I've got to go to the temple to lure the mage in. I think what I'm going to do here this turn is I'm going to deploy my minion up to the temple to lure the mage to the dungeon. Then what room am I going to build? I would need 4 thief treasures to lure the thief to my dungeon, and that's not happening. So I think I'm okay building the cursed statue over top of the subspace path. Alright, so that's another place I could send my minion to draw a spell card. Except I'm not going to be this turn, so we get the benefits. The mage gets lured to the dungeon. Then we go through the bait phase. 1 fighter treasure, no fighter treasures in the dungeon. The fighter doesn't get lured. The cleric, Otot, needs 2 cleric treasures. We've got 2 cleric treasures. Otot will get lured. The rabbit will not. And Sarah, the runaway bride, will not get lured either. So this is a little bit of a problem because now I'm going to have 2 heroes moving into landmarks. So we'll send 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐻𝐬𝐬 through first. 2 damage, 3, and the Emporium will defeat 𝐓𝐲𝐬𝐻𝐬𝐬. Then the cleric will meet the same fate, going through getting defeated in the Emporium. Okay. Forgot to put myself on Do Not Disturb. Anyway, now the minion returns home, and now we've got epic heroes coming out, so this could be trouble. Let's see who our first epic hero is. We've got a cleric. Mary Schellenstein, Graphomaniac. Mary doesn't prefer the term mad scientist. She's actually happy seeking to reverse death itself through the power of words. Yowza. 13 health already. Yikes. Next up, we've got Jerry Butchton, Arcane Investigator, 13 health, needs mage treasures. Butchton is the most prolific magical detective in town, and his investigations have taken him from Fae to Underworld. So Scoff goes to that landmark, and then we're going to have the cleric coming down to the temple. That's going to be a problem. We've got Orville of the Empty Night. A void spirit searching for his missing family, Orville wields his trusty sword as he travels through ruins of his former home. 11 health. So Scoff moves to the stadium, Mary Schellenstein to the temple, then everything else shifts over. So now we've got to start dealing with some of these heroes. First, let's see what rooms we've got. First up, we've got another Psychic Stall, which we used earlier. Then our other room is a Dangling Anvil. You may remove +1 damage counter from another room in your dungeon to deal 3 damage to a hero in this room. And our spell is another super. That's actually really tempting right now because I know I'm going to have at least 1 epic hero coming in. And I think I'm going to grab it. Actually, yeah, I'm going to grab it. And then where am I sending my minion to? That cleric's going to be coming in with 15 health if I go to the temple to lure him. The fighter, so Rabbit and Jerry Butchton are both getting lured already. The question is, do I want 2 epic heroes in my dungeon this turn? And I think the answer to that... Let's see, I'm dealing 2, 5, 9, 11 damage. So I'm going to need at least 1 super to deal with the Mage. Deals +2 damage. So I could use the back rooms. Let's see, if I use the back rooms on that room, on that cursed statue. So if I use the back rooms here, that'll turn into 4, 7, 11, 13. I'd still be 2 damage short if I go to the temple and lure the cleric. If I go to the stadium and lure the fighter, we're just gonna be able to kill the fighter outright. We're just gonna be able to kill Scoff outright. If I put down a fighter treasure, I'm gonna lure Rabbit to the dungeon, and he'll fall apart like I looked at him sideways. So the question at first is, where do I send the minion? Like I said, I know the mage is coming in. And I'm going to need, well, am I going to need a super to deal with the mage too? What did we say? 2, 7, 2, 7. Actually, wait, 2 plus 2 for the back rooms would be 4, 7, 11, 13. So I know the mage is already coming in. And I will be leveled up. That's another thing I've got to remember. I will be leveled up using the super. So, assuming I go with my plan to build the Shrew-Man farm here, which I'm probably going to. So I will be leveled up, which means I'll have 2 full-strength supers coming in. So what do we say? 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 13. So that'll deal with the mage on its own. Rabbit will go down like we looked at him sideways. So I think I will go to the temple and lure Mary to the dungeon. Then I'll build the Shrew-Man farm, which will let me level up. So now I've got another space I can send the minion, where I can draw and discard a spell card and gain an extra wizard treasure until the end of the turn. So with that being said, now we get the minion effect. So now Mary Schellenstein gets lured to the dungeon. Need a warrior treasure. I've got 2 from the Shrew-Man farm. Rabbit gets lured. I need 2 thief treasures. I've got none. The thief doesn't get lured. Jerry Butchton needs 3 wizard treasures. I've got 3 wizard treasures. He will get lured. 4 cleric treasures. I've got 3. So Orville won't get lured. Okay, so Mary got lured with +2 health. So moving through, these can get discarded, by the way. Moving through takes no damage, but I am going to use a super on Mary to deal 5 damage. And I'm going to need a d20 for that. I'd prefer a spin down, but I don't have any spin downs close and I don't feel like digging for them. So 5 to Mary. Then 7. So 5 to Mary, 7, 10, 13, 15. Okay, so yeah. So 5 up to 7 for Mary at the cursed statue. Then 10 for the psychic stall. 13, actually 14, I should say. I can't do math. And 16, that'll take out Mary Schellenstein, which will give me 2 souls. And then over to Rabbit, moving no damage here, 2, and he gets the Psychic Stall, and we look at him sideways, and he falls over. Then for 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐻𝐬, takes no damage here, 2 here, so 2, 5. Okay, here's where I needed the back room, so he's going to take another 2 damage here. So 4, 5, 6, 7. 11 and 13. Gets to the Traveling Library, and 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐬 gets defeated. Okay, minion comes back, and we've still got heroes to go. So first, next epic hero for the turn is Jin Rascal, Reluctant Father, Thief Treasures. Jin can't help it. He has a habit of rescuing orphans. Should he be bringing them on his quests? Well, that is his way. But he's going to need 3 Thief Treasures. Next up, we've got August Godson, Rebel Demigod. It's not easy being the son of a boss monster, especially when you have to face them in battle just to ask for your allowance. And then everything's getting moved. Fortunately, Scoff is staying put. Coming out next is 𝐓𝐻𝐬𝐻, Worldseer. 𝐓𝐻𝐻 has traveled far, telling never-before-heard tales of a distant shore. Warrior Treasures needs 13 health. Okay, then rooms. First room up is Guard Rabbit, Monster Room. When a room in your dungeon would gain a +1 counter, you may place it on this room instead. Next room up is a Kobold Union. When you build this room, give all trap rooms adjacent to this room a +1 counter. And our spell is Archaeology. Choose one room in your dungeon. Until end of turn, it also has the treasure symbols of every room stacked beneath it. I think we're going to grab the Kobold Union. And then I'm going to deploy the minion. Where am I deploying the minion to? Let's see. If I build the Kobold Union, I will lure Sarah the Runaway Bride. I'm also luring Orville this turn anyway. So I think I will build... Actually, where am I deploying first? Let's deploy to the... Question is, am I luring at least 3 heroes to the dungeon? I'm luring the Thief for sure. I'm luring Sarah for sure, and I'm luring Orville. Actually, I've got to build the Kobold Union to be able to lure Sarah. So I'm luring Orville for sure, but I will go ahead and build the... Actually, I've got to deploy first. I think we're going to send the minion to the stadium. That will bring Scoff to the dungeon. Then I'll build the Kobold Union. When I build this room, give all trap rooms adjacent to this one a +1 damage counter. So that'll put a damage on the cursed statue. Okay, so all of these can get discarded. Then minion benefits, the fighter gets lured with +2 health. Then as far as treasures go, the Sarah gets lured. Jin does not. Orville does get lured because I've got 3 cleric treasures. 𝐓𝐻𝐻 does not. Okay. So now we'll send Scoff through first. 1 damage, 1, 4, up to 4. Another 3 up to 7. And we'll bite it in the 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐬𝐿. Then looking at Sarah, getting hit for 1. Another 3 up to 4. And finally gets rocked in the psychic stall. Then for Orville, taking 1 damage in the 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬. Then another 3 over to the cursed statue, so up to 4. Another 3 at the psychic stall, going up to 7. And then another 4 at the 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐬𝐿. He will bite the dust. Alright, minion comes back. We're still not done yet, so we're putting out more heroes. Our next epic hero is 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐸𝐿, a mage. Using his trusty tools, this mage can create unique solutions to get through the best dungeons. Well, he's going to need them. Our next epic hero is Fritzy Fayfred, Feline Felon, Thief Treasures. Fritzy is as talented a mouser as he is a thief. No treasure in his hometown of Lake Mar is safe from his paws. 13 health. Yikes. Then everything's going to get moved over. We've got all epic heroes at this point. And coming up, we've got another fighter. Shroud, giant sword wielder. An ancient proverb says, only a loser carries a sword that's shorter than they are. Then we'll draw cards to draft. First up, we've got the Endless Staircase, an advanced trap room with another cleric treasure. Send the minion here. Every other player must discard a room card. Then we've got another 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐬𝐿. Then for our spell, we've got a second health bar. Choose a hero that survived the last room of your dungeon this turn. Return them to the last room of your dungeon, applying its damage and effects again. Which card do I want to build here? Let's see, so who's all getting lured this turn? I've got to keep my concurrent configuration for Jin to get lured. Jay's getting lured regardless. I think we're going to go with the... I think we're going to take the second health bar this time. Then I'm going to send my minion to... Then I'm going to send my minion to the stadium to lure the cleric. Alright, then build phase. I'm going to choose not to build this turn. I wanted to build a monster truck, which is an advanced monster room. The problem is the only room I can go over top of is the 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬 because it's the only room with a warrior treasure on it. And I have to build over a room that has at least one treasure of the same type. So I'm going to choose not to build this turn, which I believe is an option. You may also choose not to play a room. Okay, so yes, I am going to choose not to play a room. Then for minion benefits, August gets lured to the dungeon with +2 health. I should be able to still take him out, though. Let's see, as far as heroes getting lured, Jin, we do have a thief treasure, so Jin gets lured. Jay, we've got wizard treasures for days, so Jay gets lured. Jim does not, and Shroud does not. So we'll have August go through first, taking 1 damage in the 𝐓𝐢𝐻𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬. Then another 3 over to the cursed statue. Then another 3 over to the psychic stall, up to 7. Then another 4 at the Emporium. And another 2 at the traveling library. So that'll take him out. Then we'll have Jin come in, taking 1 damage. Then another 3. Then another 3. Then another 4 in the Emporium, and that'll end Jin's adventure. Then for Jay, taking 1 damage. Then 3 more. Then another 3 at the psychic stall. And finally another 4 at the Emporium as the Emporium claims another victim. I'm actually just going to make a stack of heroes so I can tally up the souls at the end of the game. That'll probably be a lot easier to do. Minion comes back, and I think these are the last 3 heroes of the game. So first up, we've got Daniela Lake, Lady of Heists, Thief Treasures. No watery tart, Lake's greatest scheme had her building a replica dungeon under the boss monster's very nose. And the next hero here is E.J. Jones, Masked Barbarian. A street smart hog rider. E.J. just needs his mask and a good stick, and he'll shoot for the stars with 11 health. And our last hero coming out, so these 2 are getting pushed over. And coming out is Dame Ender, Cinder Reborn. Dame Ender has been chosen to defeat all the dungeon lords, and she'll do it, no matter how many times she has to die. And I believe the game ends, one of the game ends is when the epic deck is empty. Yes. Okay, so we have triggered the end of the game. And I will mention also that I do have a product unboxing coming up after we're done with this game. But before we get there, we need to reveal our last 2 rooms and our last spell to look at. So our first room is the Ghastly Call Box. When your minion visits the temple, give this room a +1 counter. We had to visit the temple. Well, actually, we were visiting the stadium a fair amount this game. And our last room to look at is the Break Room. Bring the minion here, give each monster room adjacent to this +2 damage this turn. I doubt we're going to grab that. Let's see what spell we've got here. Counterfeit Map. Reveal and discard a room card. Add its treasure icons to your boss card until end of turn. I think we're going to grab that. We're going to discard these 2. And then we are in, actually I think the last part of the market phase. Yep, the last part of the market phase is to send our minion. Let's go with. Let's see. We'll have to go to one of the. We'll have to go to either the temple or the stadium to lure one of those heroes, unless. Let's see. We've got 1 thief and 1 warrior treasure, 3 wizard and 3 cleric treasures. I think we're going to go ahead and lure the fighter to our dungeon. Once again, I'm going to choose not to play a room, but I am going to play the counterfeit map. So that'll let me reveal and discard a room card. Add its treasure tokens to my boss card until the end of the turn. So the room that we're revealing here, of course, we find a room that's got no treasures on it. Delightful. All right, so minion benefits. We bring EJ to the dungeon with a +2 health counter on it. Then Daniela will get lured because we've got a thief treasure. We only have 1 warrior treasure, so Jameson and Shroud don't get lured, and we're 1 wizard treasure short of being able to lure Dame to our dungeon. So, here's our last dungeon tour for the game. We've got EJ coming in first, taking 1 damage in the Cobbled Union. Then another 3 in the Cursed Statue. Then another 3 in the Psychic Stall, going up to 7. Then 4 in the Emporium, going up to 11. And then another 2 in the Traveling Library, so that'll take out EJ. And then Daniela will meet the same fate. 1, 4, 7, 11. And then that is the end of the game since we revealed the last epic hero. So now we'll tally up our cards. I'm going to sort these out by the type of hero. Each regular hero is worth 1 soul, as you can see by the coin on the back. Each epic hero will be worth 2. So, we'll count up the number of heroes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 12 regular heroes. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 epic heroes for 16. 16 and 12 is 28. So with 28 souls, and I would subtract the number of wounds, but I didn't take any wounds. 28's good for a Dungeon Sultan ranking, so very impressive on this play of Super Boss Monster. While I clean up, I'll give you guys my thoughts on this game. I really enjoy this game, to be perfectly honest. And when I compare it to Stone Spine Architects, which is the other dungeon crafter I know, I like this one better. And the reason I like this one better than Stone Spine Architects is because in Stone Spine Architects, what I've found with that is you build up your dungeon, yes, but you're not really building it for anything. You're just building it for points. And I think I like seeing the payoff of my work in the dungeon here a little bit more, because I get to see the heroes adventure through the dungeon and see, okay, I need to strengthen this part of the dungeon, or I need to maybe change that part of it up. So like I said, I like having that payoff where you get to see your work in the dungeon of how everything's progressed for you. I also like that everything that's come out for Boss Monster is backwards compatible. In fact, the Kickstarter, there was a Kickstarter last year for Super Boss Monster 2, The Die is Cast. I really like this game enough to back that Kickstarter. So that will be coming in probably in the next year or two. Actually, let me see if I can find, while we're continuing to talk and do cleanup, let me see if I can pull up Kickstarter and see when that's supposed to deliver. I think one of the last updates had it going into production not too long ago. So let's see if I can find an update on that. Let's see, spells. Right, this is the stuff that needed to come out. I think these are the heroes that needed to come out. Let's see, Super Boss Monster 2. There we are. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it just went into pre-production is what I'm finding on Kickstarter about that. So I imagine that means we'll see that in... I imagine that means we'll probably see it in the next 6 months to a year. Hopefully a bit sooner than that, but obviously with Kickstarters, some variability is just the nature of the beast. Let's see, right, I think I put the treasures in, I think I put the extra treasures in here. And normally I don't do cleanup on air, but I've got like I mentioned near the top of the video, I do have a product unboxing I want to get to. And by doing cleanup this way, by doing cleanup now, I'm going to make it easier for myself to start the switch over to baseball for tomorrow. So just bear with me while I get all of this packed up. Yeah, like I said, when I compared to Stone Spine Architects versus this, I like this better just because you see the aftermath of what you were working toward in your dungeon construction, whereas in Stone Spine Architects you don't get that construct, you don't get the result, you don't get the aftermath of you don't get to see how your dungeon progressed. You essentially build it and then you leave it. So the payoff is what I'm looking for there. That, and sometimes I just like playing as a villain on occasion. Anyway, we're all done here, so I'll finish up cleanups later. But we've got a fairly heavy box that just came in from Amazon, so let's crack this open and see what we've got in here. This isn't from Amazon. This is from a gentleman off of eBay that I sourced this off of. I was trying to source this off of Board Game Geek, but the inquiry I sent went unanswered. And it's a game I've been interested in for a while. I've never been able to track a copy down, so I just decided to pull the trigger on it myself. And in here, holy cow. So I've got to lift it up like that. And what we're greeted by in here is some extra paper, but more importantly, we're being greeted by a copy of Australia by Stronghold Games, the big Z box. And unfortunately, there is nothing on the back of this one. There's normally a little spiel in here, but there are a couple of expansions in here. Revenge of the Old Ones and the Tasmania expansion. So I'm probably not going to do a full unboxing of this tonight, but I will try to get to an unboxing of this weekend. But that'll do it for this playthrough of Super Boss Monster. Tomorrow night, as far as what's coming up on the channel, tomorrow night we are headed to Shea Stadium in New York City to continue my 2001 season replay and payoff pitch baseball, as the Colorado Rockies will be taking on the New York Mets. Sean Chacon will be going for the Rockies, and Kevin Apier will be on the mound for the Mets. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the Cooking with Deadpool cookbook as we make the entree Breakfast Chimney. Sunday morning, we're going to have another new game debut on the channel as we play Marvel Zombies by Simon. Wednesday next week, I've gone back and forth on what I want to put on the channel a few times. I originally wanted to do an obvious mimic adventure for Dungeons and Dragons. Then I wanted to do second season Express by Play games, and now I'm even wavering on that. So, but by the time I go live on Monday, by the time we get to Monday's block in the 2001 season replay, I will know what we're doing at that point. So I'll announce I'll announce for sure what we're doing on Monday night after Monday's game. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.